We are back, and we are joined now by Shah Meer Baloch, reporter covering Pakistan for The Guardian. He's written multiple pieces on Afghan refugees within Pakistan. We had a bit of connectivity issues. Hopefully, we got that sorted out. Shah Meer, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you actually for having me over.
Of course. So earlier in October, the Pakistan government announced a deadline for undocumented Afghan refugees to leave Pakistan. The deadline passed on Wednesday. What is the background of that deadline, and why did the Pakistani government impose it?
The background it's quite clear, which was reiterated by the caretaker Prime Minister Anwar al-Kakad yesterday, which he sees that time and again they had requested the Afghan Taliban to help them and not to provide any sanctuary to the Pakistani Taliban, who have been carrying out attacks inside Pakistan. According to him, more than 15 suicide bombers recently were detonated themselves across the country, and many of the attacks they've been carrying out in Pakistan, they have their safe sanctuaries according to Pakistan and Afghanistan. Though when Taliban came into power, there were celebrations in Pakistan like Taliban would be very helpful to them, and they thought there would be a decrease in terrorism in Pakistan. But according to the caretaker Prime Minister, which he said yesterday, there has been rise in terrorism in Pakistan 500%, and around 3,000 people have lost their lives in Pakistan in last 2 years since Taliban came into power. So it's been a pressure tactic to force Taliban, to pressure Taliban to stop and giving any safe sanctuary and support to the Pakistani Taliban who have their bases inside Afghanistan.
But the thousands of refugees that are in Pakistan, I mean, they fled the Taliban, right? So the question is are these refugees here bearing the brunt and being expelled with no real plan because of kind of domestic nationalist Pakistan political considerations?
Yeah, I think you're right, and it was such a rash decision. 2 years ago, when Taliban were coming into power in August, I was reporting on one of the borders in Chaman, bordering Spin Boldak, near to Kandahar province. I personally saw hundreds and thousands of Afghans fleeing the Taliban regime, and there were minorities like Hazara Shias, there were children, women, musicians, activists, journalists who came and had refuge in Pakistan. And this decision has been taken to expel them, like they're refugees. They're the ones that have been facing the brunt of the Taliban. But at the same time, I think we need to see it a bit in historical context. Since the invasion of Soviet Union, former Soviet Union like Russia, of Afghan Taliban, Afghan Talibans were supported by the US and Pakistani authorities, and it was the movement at first in 1980s. Refugees had come to Pakistan, and there are those refugees as well who have been living in Pakistan. I personally interviewed many people who were born in Pakistan, and they're in this brunt and this crackdown, and they're facing the worst brunt of it.
How many refugees are in Pakistan? How many Afghan refugees?
According to the government of Pakistan, there are at least 2 million registered refugees are in Pakistan, but around 1.5 to 1.7 million are unregistered refugees. So, according to the Pakistan, the government says that they are not expelling and they are not forcing registered refugees who are registered with UNHCR and the Pakistani government to go and leave the country. According to authorities in Pakistan, they are just expelling that are the refugees who don't have any restriction in Pakistan, and they are the ones they fear. Not all, a few of them, couple of them might be used again in terrorist activities. So that's the entire point. Like they, according to the state, they are Pakistani state. They are explaining the. But at the same time, we have talked to many people. Like there are those who are being expelled from Pakistan. They are the ones they also have proof of registration cards with the UNHCR, with Pakistani state. So in this severe crackdown, there are also the ones where the proof of registration they are being expelled.
And I mean, what is the evidence that's being provided here for who should be expelled and who should not be? You wrote about how there's been police harassment of both legal and non-legal refugees, and how, this is in many ways stripping people or taking people away from the only home that they've known for quite a while.
Yeah, it's actually according to police, they are arresting those they don't have any proof of registration, like they don't have any cards. Like whosoever they're registered with the UNHCR or the Pakistani government, they have a card to show as a proof. But I personally had interviewed many people in Quetta, a bordering region with Afghanistan. When they started the crackdown, many Uzbeks or Afghans they were arrested during this severe crackdown. They had the cards and they were facing the police wrath. So there's also a time when there are already the questions have been raised and the fingers have been raised over police performance. Like it's such a time like many fear the police takes bribes from such people, such vulnerable refugees as well. Police have been accused. So, according to the officials and the government ministers, they're just explaining and they're just going against those who are not in a position to provide any proof of registration that they are registered refugees.
I mean, what about the United States' role here in resettling Afghan refugees? The Biden administration had promised that they would do that for some fraction of refugees, but many people, as you say, are fleeing the Taliban, women, folks that don't want to live under the rule of a religious fundamentalist government. Where is the U.S. in all of this?
I think it's been more than 2 years now since the fall of Kabul, since the Taliban took over power. So according to the U.S. officials, they have a list of 25,000 people they need to resettle and relocate in the U.S. But it's been so slow, maybe because of the bureaucracy or other reasons. The U.S. has not been US has not been very much active in taking out and Afghan refugees who have been in Pakistan in this July. So far they've just relocated. I think we have not been given a particular number. I think they've not relocated more than hundreds of people. Still, they have some 25,000 people around in Pakistan, which they need to be relocated and they need to be settled. So we have been told by the government ministers in Pakistan, top officials, like they are giving a specific deadline to refugees when wherever they want to settle them. They have a deadline till 31st December, which it's what we have heard from the government ministers. So till 31st December, I think the US authorities have 25,000 Afghan refugees to be relocated in the US. And so far, it's been very much slow because the entire drive is started, relocation is started in this July.
Well, Shah Meer Baloch, a reporter covering Pakistan for The Guardian, you can read his work over at The Guardian. We'll put a link to it below. Thank you so much for your time today.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.